Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of pre-season prep. Now I know plenty of you anglers still fish through the winter, but certainly with some of the hot summers that we've had, more of you have ventured out through the colder months, but there are still the traditional ones that at the end of the trout fishing season they put the stuff away and they won't go back to it until maybe the end of March, April time at the start of the trout fishing season. So just getting prepared for the start of the season means that you're going to hit the ground running and hopefully have a good start to the 2023 season. So here's just a few things that I do prior to the start of the season. Now I'm fairly fastidious when it comes to looking after my gear anyway, but at this time of year I do make a little bit more of an effort and make sure that I get the best possible start to the year. So one of the things that I always do at the end of every year is I always maintain my reels really well. As you can see here, I've got a huge section of lines all on these cassette spools, and before I start the season I make sure that all of these lines, they've been cleaned and that all the lines are well maintained. So for these, they've still all got their original welded loops on them, but if for instance there was a bit of damage on this welded loop, all I do is simply snip it off just behind where it's been made, and I'd look at putting on a little Roman Moser Minicon. Now these for me are the best braided loops you can get. They're very short, they've been doubled the whole length, and they're very easy to put on and particularly strong. And then just a little bit of Zap-A-Gap or some kind of glue on top of that little sleeve. Capillary action sucks it back down the plastic sleeve and you've got a really solid joint. So I'll go through all of my fly lines from front to back, make sure the backing's okay, the attachment to the back of the fly line, all the way down the line looking for any nicks or cuts in the fly line and checking those braided loops before. Once I'm happy all the lines are fine, what I'll do is I'll clean them all. Now there are plenty of different cleaners out on the market, but there's a few things to sort of look out for when you are choosing your different type of cleaner. Now quite often they come in these little packs which will come with the cleaning pad as well, and there's some that are just plain line conditioners, and there are others that are line conditioners and cleaners that also contain a floatant. Now what I do is if I have one that's got a floatant, I have a separate pouch for that with a separate cleaning pad, and one that's just a general cleaning one which I can use on my sunk lines, then I'll keep that in a separate little Ziploc bag as well, and I'll never get them crossed over. It's a mistake you'll only make once by using a line cleaner with floatant on it in your sinking lines. Once you've done that, they never really sink the same as they should do. So keeping those separate and just paying a little bit of attention of which one you're using on which fly line in the long run will save you a lot of pain. So make sure you can get one with a floatant in it, and then one that's just a general cleaner as well, and you can use them for your floating lines and your sinking lines. That'll just make them cleaner, make them slicker, cast a little bit further, and more importantly last longer, because fly lines aren't cheap and you want to get as many seasons out of them as you can. So once I'm happy with all my fly lines, I'll look at things like my bag and go through all my leaders and tippets that I've had from the previous season. Now there's two materials I tend to use more than anything else. I use fluorocarbon, which is what I use for pretty much anything that's subsurface. Because it's denser than water, it naturally sinks. So if I'm using nymphs or lures or anything I want to get down, I'll be using a pure fluorocarbon. Now the thing with pure fluorocarbons is that they don't deteriorate in the same way as a nylon does. So my copolymer, which I'll use for my dry fly or anything I want to fish up in the water, this does deteriorate. Now one of the nice things that Rio's done with this is they've given you a little box here with purchase date on it. So when you buy it, just fill that in and you know how long it's been since you've had that. Now with these slightly smaller spools, it's pretty easy to get through the spools, but if I was buying a larger spool and it was taking me longer time to get from the start of it to the finish of it, then I want to know how long it's been since I bought it. So that's just a little detail, and normally within about 12-18 months, if I haven't finished the spool, I'll probably look at changing that out for a new spool material that's that bit newer. I'm going to have 100% confidence that it's still got the same breaking strain and it hasn't deteriorated in any way, shape or form. So if I do hook that massive fish, I know my leader's not going to let me down. So those are two materials that I use, and I'll keep those in my bag out of light, but I'll keep an eye on the dates on them, and if there's any that need replacing, then I'll replace them. After I've done that, I'll go through my fly boxes and I'll make sure that if I've got any gaps, I'll get behind the vise, tie up a few more flies and fill those gaps. As you can see, I'm fairly well organised when it comes to my fly boxes. I like things to be in nice neat rows. This is still a bit of a work in progress, this fly box. I haven't had a chance to finish filling it yet, but some lures on that side, and then on this side the naturals with my dries and my nymphs, and less patterns than I'd normally have, but I've got more of each fly. So the patterns that I've got really big confidence in, I'll tie a dozen of each pattern rather than having hundreds and hundreds of different patterns. So I'll go through here, check there's any gaps, have a look to see if there's any rusty hooks. I'll take those ones out, clean them all off, make sure there's no nylon in the eyes, that sort of thing. So I'll go through all my boxes, of which I've got far too many, as we all have, but there's plenty in there, and I'll just go through all those and check them all out. Other things that I do, go through my waistcoat or go through my sling bag, just check to make sure that I've got my dry shake, I've got my frog's fanny, and my bottle of gink, and that there's plenty in it. I hate to get out there and find out you're just about to start drying your fly and you realise that your pot's half empty. So if I need to, I'll get a fresh one of these and just top them up. Along with that, I'll have a look through my waders, I'll have a look through my jackets and make sure that they're nice and clean. And if I haven't given them a wash or a bit of a reproof, then I'll use something like the Tech Wash or the Granger's Wash here, which in this one in particular, not only does it clean it, but it also reproofs it at the same time. So you can have a 2-in-1 with that one. And it just means that when you go out and you get caught in that weather, if it does decide it's going to chuck it down with rain, that water, the DWI is going to be back on your jackets and it's going to repel that water properly. And it's going to make for a much more comfortable day's fishing. And along with that, because I like to do a lot of river fishing as well as a bit of reservoir fishing, things like my life jacket, every season or 2 seasons I'll put a new canister in here just to make sure that I'm nice and safe, because if you do go in, you want to make sure that it's got a nice fresh canister in it that will go off. So all of these things put together, I'll check with my net, which is always, again, goes away after it's been used. I'll wash it, put it away, let it dry. And all the rest of my gear, I'll just go through bit by bit, making sure that I'm happy with everything I've got. I'll look at my wading boots, make sure that my laces are okay. I don't need to put a new pair of laces on. And equally, I'll have a look at the bottom and see if I need to replace any studs. Because there's nothing worse with studs. If you leave it too long and they wear down too much, is they're a real swine to get out of the boot. So I wait until I'm still able to get them out nice and easy and then replace them with the fresh ones. So again, I've got brand new studs for the start of the season. If they're still alright from the previous year, obviously I'll leave them in, but any that are looking a little bit worn, I'll swap those out. So there's loads of other stuff you can look at. You can look at your rods. Again, being somebody that looks after their gear, all my rods get cleaned up and put away dry before the end of the season. And so I know that when I come back to them at the start of the season, the rods are going to be in good condition. There's not going to be any mold or mildew on the rod bags or on the handles, and that they're in good condition and going to last. So just a little bit of attention to detail, not only on all your terminal tackle, but the bigger ticket items as well, like your jackets, your waders, your boots. They're not cheap. Look after them and they'll last you a decent amount of time. And it doesn't take long. I mean, even like fly lines, I know we're inherently lazy when it comes to cleaning a fly line. And literally it takes you as long as it does to strip the line off the reel and wind it back on again to clean your fly line. But the difference it will make in its performance and your ability to get that line out a little bit further and the longevity of its life is going to be improved greatly. So hopefully here's a few hints and tips for the start of the season. I hope you guys will have a great start to 2023. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button, and we'll be back with more content soon.